Hey, what's up you guys? Brandasauresrex here coming at you with another SH Monstars review. Today we're going to be reviewing Godzilla 2000's Millennium Special Colored version. And god, this figure has such a long name for just a simple repaint, retooling kind of figure. So, I am very excited for this figure. I've been very excited since this figure was announced. I'm a big fan of the original figure, so let's see if this figure holds up to the original. So without further ado, let's take a look at Godzilla's amazing box. So sadly enough, this figure does not come with any accessories. Boo! I know, it sucks. Oh my god, a figure that doesn't come with accessories from Bandai. How could they? They hurt my feelings. Okay, so since it doesn't come with any accessories in itself, you can actually use the other accessories that Tamashii Nations have just thrown at us throughout the years, whether it's this bluish goldish effect that came with the effect set, the newer one, not the older one, or if you have the blue one, the original blue one, which I have, which is kind of warped sadly, or even if you have the red one, which all work perfectly with it. And if you want to get really crazy, the spiral ray does work. It does take some finagling, but I've done it before with the other Godzilla. It's one of my favorite photos that I've done of mine. And I don't know, it was just one of those things that got a lot of attention on the a.c.b.a page, if you guys are fans of that. And if you're not, you're welcome. Go check it out. So yeah, so they all work with it, and they all look fantastic with it. But I do prefer this one with it, since it's kind of slightly more of the gold variety, which this Godzilla and the 2000s Godzilla had a more goldish atomic breath, which I think is. Now let's take a look at the articulation of this figure, and I think I'm going to try to run through this as fast as possible because I already did articulation for this figure when I reviewed it the first time, when it was the Godzilla 2000s figure. So if you want to see a full length of all that, the link will be down below to the original review. So starting at the head, Godzilla can look left and right, and also at the base of the neck he can look left and right. He also can swivel from here, this point as well, 3 points, and also from the head, if you can kind of get it to move a little bit, which gives him a little bit of character and all that. It's great for posing. The tongue is articulated, so once you get it up, you can kind of move it around with your tip of your finger. As you can see me doing it right now. Really cool. The mouth does open and close, so you can really get this mouth to close really tightly. But you can see that it starts to open up just a little bit. Around right here is where it stops. Pretty cool. And he also can look very far down, so he can pretty much look at his toes in his. So moving down to the arms can rotate about that high up, all the way down, about that far back. If you want to see that far back. He does have a kind of chest joint to allow him to flex out or in, to get more dynamic posing, or for you stop motion animators, to get them to do some breathing. So I'm going to do that. So I know a couple of my friends do some stop motions with these things, so there you go, you're welcome. And he has a single jointed elbow. Yeah, I want to say single jointed elbow, really cool. His wrists do rotate. I can't find the joint. Okay, I'm going to do it on this side. His wrist rotates. There you go. You can get it swivel all the way around. Really cool. Now I'm going to lift this arm up. And moving on to the body. He has 2 abdomen joints, one in the upper part, one in the lower part, which allow him to bend down and ab crunch it out, which is really, really cool. And sadly, my other Godzilla 2000, the one with the purple spines, got really loose over time. So be forewarned. Messing around with this figure would be really, really bad for this figure. I'll actually show it off. Maybe there'll be like a animation of me moving the figure around, and you'll see how loose it actually got over time. But yeah, it got really, really loose over time, and it's kind of sad. Moving on to Godzilla's sexy legs. He has the Tamashii Nation joint, which allows him to be pulled down, which gets it a little bit more range of motion. So with that, he can kick up about like that, completely out of frame. So yeah, Godzilla can do high kicks, really cool. He can bend his knee about that far, not too far, but far enough. And he also has this shin joint, which allows him to bend at the shin for more dynamic posing, and also foot articulation, which allows for cool stepping poses, which I think is really, really cool. We all know how this goes, Godzilla's and their endless amounts of articulation in the tail. Very, very nice. All fantastic. You can get it in so many different poses. And this one actually holds a pose, shockingly. My other Godzilla does not hold any type of pose in the tail. It just immediately drops because of the weight. This one will stay up. Oop, and break, apparently. So it will hold a pose depending on how you form it. But my other one will not for the life of it. So that's pretty cool. So instead of doing the thing where I talk about detailing and then kind of compare these two figures, I'm actually going to do it all in one shot. I'm going to compare both figures and show you the differences and the similarities of both figures, and then kind of just tell you which one do I prefer, because I actually do have a preference. So here's some comparison shots, and then I'll tell you which one I enjoy more. So I know I'm going to get this question many times, and I'm just going to answer it now in this video before anybody types it in the comments. On which figure do I prefer over the other? Do I like the original Millennium figure, or do I like the newer one? And honestly, I think I'm leaning more towards the newer Millennium figure for one of two reasons. One, I love white spikes on Godzilla. I love the idea of the purple spikes on this Godzilla and him being so different from the other Godzillas, and that's really cool and all, but I am such a classic kind of guy, and I think that the white spikes just make this figure just pop a little bit more, even though I feel like the purple spikes also make it pop. So I'm kind of torn, but I do prefer the white spikes on this more than I do prefer the purple ones on this one. So, and on top of that, my Millennium figure, this one right here, this poor baby, is so loose, it doesn't make that figure fun anymore. I love this figure. It's my first SH Monster Arts figure that I've ever bought in, that I saw online, and I was like, I have to get this because it's Godzilla. And it's sad that now it's the fun factor of that figure is just this figure is just gone. And now I have this one to replace it, which makes me so happy, and I can never get another one of these, sadly, but this one will fill the gap for me. So now that we have everything wrapped up about the comparisons, let's get this thing in some size comparisons. So to wrap up this review, I'm gonna honestly say that this figure is absolutely worth getting. Yes, this is a repaint, redo-over of the other SH Monster Arts Millennium figure, but you do kind of need this figure if you have Kiryu Heavy Arms and if you have the original Kiryu, because this is kind of what we're getting as the 2002 Godzilla. I think this is the closest we're going to get to that. And Diego Doom kind of said it in his review, and I'm going to kind of restate it. This is kind of going to be the closest thing that SH Monster Arts is going to produce to a actual 2002 Godzilla. So hopefully we get that Godzilla who has the scars in his chest and looks a little bit more weathered. And even if they keep the same sculpting details with this and they just add the scars on the chest, I would be happy. And I think most SH Monster Arts fans And Godzilla fans will be happy as well. So, with that being said, I hope you guys come join us on the a.c.b.a. Facebook page. We have a lot of cool artists doing a lot of cool different things, and a lot of cool things coming up. So, I hope that you guys would come join us. And also, I want to tell you guys that I do have an Instagram account and I do have a Facebook account. Both of those will be listed down below. You can follow me and add me on there, where we could talk about Godzilla stuff and all that stuff. And you can check out a full gallery of all of my photos. Also secret photos that I don't actually release on videos, and also photos that I do release on videos. So you can see all that together. And you can see some behind the scenes stuff too, which is really cool. So with that being said, I'll check you guys out next time. Peace.